And good morning, everybody. I would like to welcome you to Coffee with the Colonel. I am SMA-COL Fout, head of school for Sarasota Military Academy. Welcome. I am glad you're here. I know many of you are excited to hear about what school is going to look like this year. As you know, here in Sarasota County, we are doing both remote learning as well, or distance learning, as well as brick and mortar, meaning kids come on campus 5 days a week. So that begs to leave us with a lot of questions about, well, what's it going to look like on campus, and how are we going to keep our cadets, our staff, and our faculty safe and able to continue providing great educational experiences. So today we're going to talk about several things. We're going to start first by talking about our personal and community responsibilities, especially our personal responsibilities to our community, the SMA community and the community as a whole. We're also going to talk about our mask mandates. We're going to talk about transportation, uniforms for cadets, campus access, how to get on and off campus, safe movement patterns around the campus, and classroom protocols, all of which are going to basically cover a whole day, what it's going to look like to stay safe during our COVID operations. Next slide, please. All right, so trying to get us to go on to our next slide. You'll have to excuse me for the technical difficulties. Here we go. Personal responsibility. So yes, community health. This is what we're talking about. And it just doesn't mean our own personal health, but it means the health of our community as a whole, so that we can return to education, so that we can return to regular business, so that we can return to our normal lifestyles that we've been so used to. It's very important that we all play our own role in getting us there. So we have to monitor our own health. We have to report if there are any changes immediately, right? If you're feeling ill in any way, take the initiative for the sake of your community, for the sake of your school, for the sake of your family, and stay home and get well, right? Contact your medical provider immediately. Report your illness to the attendance clerk for cadets, and if you're a staff member, report it to your administration. Next slide, please. All right, so the question comes up then, what do we do if we have either A, tested positive for COVID-19, or we believe we've had contact with a COVID-19 case? First, if you have tested positive, notify the school and other people that you have had close contact with. Follow CDC guidance for self-care. Consult your doctor, all right? Notify your local health department. Also, notify your school, right? If I have had close contact with the COVID-19 case, I should stay home for 14 days and isolate. This is a recommendation from the Department of Health and CDC. We should practice social distancing. Even when at home, practice social distancing. Monitor your health for symptoms and for changes in those symptoms. Follow the CDC guidelines if you think you are sick. Next slide. Personal responsibilities continue. If you are experiencing symptoms, contact the health department, contact your medical provider. Stay home until you've had no fever for at least 3 days and improvement of other symptoms. That's no fever, including after you have stopped taking medicine, right? And if you have other symptoms, 10 days since your first symptoms appeared, but then you still need to be fever-free for 3 days, right? Okay, if you've had close contact with a person, stay home for 14, check your temperature twice a day, watch your symptoms. If anything changes, contact your medical provider. Stay away from people at high risk. Many of us have family members at home who are at high risk. And we need to isolate ourselves within the home from those high-risk people, okay? If you are sick and you think you have COVID-19, stay home. 10 days since your symptoms appeared, right? See a doctor. At least 25, at least 24, but they say 36 or 72 hours with no fever and no fever reducing medication. If you have tested positive, stay home until after 10 days has passed your positive test. Now we know our tests don't come back real quick, right? If you're able to get it through your doctor, you can probably get a quicker response. Go ahead to the next slide, please. So we will be doing some contact tracing here at the high school and at the prep. Cadets and faculty and staff are encouraged to self-report in the Scout app. This will come available as school begins. SMA administration will oversee anonymized data. In other words, if you report that you have had symptoms, your name will not be shared with anyone. It will stay within the school, and we will contact anyone who has been in contact with you to let them know that they may have been in contact with someone with COVID symptoms. And the same thing, if somebody else reports, you're not going to find out who it is. You're just going to find out that you may have been in contact with someone. This is to keep everybody's personal identification information safe. All right. The system will communicate with the cadets and the personnel who may have come in contact with a potential case or a positive case. Go ahead and go to the next slide. This is all part of that personal responsibility. Contact tracing. If we are able to quickly identify who may have come in contact with someone that is showing symptoms, we can nip it in the bud and we can keep it from spreading and keep us in school. That is the important part. So symptoms in school. What happens if you as a child or if your child is in school and develops symptoms? Say as the day goes on, they develop a fever or they develop nausea or one of those symptoms. Really, any symptom for illness is going to be treated like it could be a possible COVID case, right? We have to, because there are so many different symptoms that are just like flu symptoms, just like common cold symptoms. So we ask that the cadets just discreetly inform their teacher that they're not feeling well. They will gather all of their items and report directly to the clinic. The clinic will help them determine what the problem is, right? And the clinic staff will contact the parents. If they are showing COVID-19 symptoms, the clinic staff will contact the parents and will ask you to come pick them up. And we then ask you to self-report in the Scout app. Now remember, that is self-report. This is something you option into, but it really helps the community when you do self-report. We are expecting the same from our staff and faculty. They need to inform their supervisor immediately. They need to gather all their personal items and depart campus immediately, and then report in the Scout app. After that, it's up to you, the parents or the staff members, to then seek medical care with your provider. Go ahead and advance to the next slide. This is all of this personal responsibility really helps to keep the community safe, to helps maintain, if there are any breakouts in the school, that we can quickly address it and quickly contain it. One of the ways we're going to do that is through a mask mandate. You may have heard that at first Sarasota District was not requiring a mask. Well, now they are. We have required masks all along because we know from the CDC and Department of Health that it helps with the spread of COVID, all right? And we want to keep everybody safe. We want to keep everybody in school. We want to get back to normal school. We all do, both you and us. So, as outlined in the Sarasota County School District policy, all individuals, including students, employees, visitors, and vendors, must wear a face covering that covers both the nose and the mouth at all times while at or inside any building, facility, or bus or other vehicle. SMA, we are going to provide you with one washable cloth mask for all cadets, staff, and faculty. The cloth masks were recommended to be at least 2-ply and fit tightly over the nose and the mouth. And I'll give you a demonstration here in a moment. Surgical and medical masks are absolutely appropriate, and they're very effective. All personnel and students are encouraged to have multiple face coverings, especially the cloth ones. That way you can wash them regularly. They should be plain, solid, or basic patterns without writing. No faces on the mask. Especially, yeah, nothing like that. The only thing we are allowing to be on the mask, other than like a floral pattern or shapes or something like that, the only other type of thing that you can have on the mask is the SMA brand, and those will be available through PTCC. Go ahead and advance the slide, please. So the mask should cover your nose and your mouth fully. It should come under your chin and go up to the bridge of your nose. This should not be, we do not wear it like this. That is totally ineffective, right? We have to cover where the air comes in and out. For bus safety measures, we are, one, requiring you have to wear a mask to be on the bus, all right? Cadets, we're asking them to seat from rear to front. So if they're the first one on the bus, they should be going to the rear of the bus. If you're riding with a sibling, we ask that you sit together. That's because you're already been together. You're not commingling with somebody else you don't normally sit with. You're always going to be close to a person. Since you have to be close to somebody, it might as well be somebody you're with all the time. We are requiring 2 cadets per seat. We will allow them to spread out if that is possible. But unfortunately, we are not able to socially distance on the bus. Windows may be open for ventilation if the weather permits, right? And the buses are cleaned between runs and then disinfected by fogging machines every night. Go ahead and advance. If you have questions about busing, please contact our transportation director, and you can find her contact information on the website. once again, I just cannot stress enough that we have to wear masks at all times. Uniforms. Now, our Army uniforms, our JRTC uniforms, they're recommended to be dry cleaned, and we know you can't do that on a regular basis. You are issued 3 shirts and 2 pants. So we are going to require the wearing of the Class B uniforms 3 times a week. So cadets and faculty and staff will wear the Class B uniform, which is this uniform for faculty and staff. It's similar for the cadets, but it's a JROTC uniform, Army uniform. They're going to wear that uniform Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So they have a day in between each. Now, we have found that Lysol does a good job of disinfecting on the cloth, and it should not hurt. It should not damage the cloth. The pants themselves really need to be dry cleaned. They're not supposed to be washed. There is a specific procedure for washing them in a dry cleaning type manner, but we recommend dry cleaning on those because otherwise they can be damaged. However, between wears, you can certainly spray them down with Lysol, and that will help disinfect. All right. Tuesdays is polo uniform for everybody on campus, cadets, faculty, and staff. The regular polo uniform, which is the black pants for the cadets with the little star, and the polo shirt. You can get those at Children's World. And that day, ladies, you have to have your hair up, all right, with that polo uniform on Tuesday. Thursday, you can wear the polo bottoms and either your polo shirt or a spirit wear shirt, which is an SMA spirit wear, right? And that day, ladies, you're allowed to have your hair down. Go ahead and advance the next slide. Uniform and grooming inspections will be scheduled in the JRTC classes and also for ACAD. So those 12th graders who do not have formation or do not have a JRTC class first semester, not until second semester, you're still going to be inspected, but you're going to be inspected in formation. Next slide, please. Little coffee with the Colonel. All right, so campus access. Let's talk about this a little bit. Before, we have basically had campus open from 6 in the morning until 6 in the evening. We have to tighten that down because we can't just have people hanging out here. We can't have people getting here too early. And the reason is because we are doing temperature checks for everybody who enters our campus. So campus for staff and faculty will open at 6 a.m. and staff and faculty will report to the office to get their temperature checks. All right. Cadets may begin entering campus at 6:30, no earlier than 6:30 a.m. So please, if you're dropping off your child, please don't drop them off until 6:30. Temperature checks will be conducted at the bus line. So when the buses pull up, they will be checked when they get off the bus. They will be conducted at the walk-in gate. This is the small gate on Orange Avenue. So everybody coming from the new junior parking lot, everybody walking to school will go through the walk-in gate. There will be people out there directing you where to go, and you will get your temperature check there. At the car line, you'll pull all the way around to the back where we normally drop off. You cannot drop them off early in the line. You got to wait till you get to the back. Your cadet will remain in the car and the check will be made through the window. And if they're good, they'll be asked to come on into school. Okay. I'll go ahead and advance the slide and I'll talk a little bit more about, well, what happens if their temperature is high. First of all, the temperature gauges are not perfect. All right. We know that. The temperature we're looking for is 100.4. If it's above 100.4, we're supposed to send you home and we're supposed to have you isolate, right? However, these are not perfect. So if we check you and you're high, we may ask you, parents, if you're in the car, we may ask you just to pull over. If you are coming off the bus, we may just have you stand to the side for a moment. We'll recheck you. If you're in the car line and you test high, and you test high the second time, parents, we're just going to ask you to go ahead and take your child home, okay? And contact your provider. your medical provider. If they are coming off the bus or they show up at the walking gates, we are going to isolate them and contact the parents to have them come pick them up. All right. So students that have a temperature, show other symptoms of COVID-19 will be isolated, and parents will be contacted for pickup. When picking up, we're going to ask that you call the clinic for specific instructions. The clinic will give you the contact information. They're going to contact you first. All right. And they will then, we'll go into that in just a moment. Go ahead and advance to the next slide. We highly encourage that you actually check temperatures before you leave the home. If your child's running a high temperature or something out of the normal, you really should keep them at home. We do have remote access for all classes this year. So if your child is kept at home, please go ahead and have them log into their Google Classroom, and they can still continue their education. It doesn't matter if they're home. So here's a map of the campus and the drop-off points. You can see on the bottom of the screen where there are green lines, bright green lines, and you see the little temperature gauge. That's the little small gate where they're going to be coming in from the junior parking lot and for walkers. All right. They'll come in through there. There will be 2 people there to expedite quick entry, taking temperatures. And if by chance they're running a little bit high, they'll just stand off to the side for a moment, and then they'll recheck them, and they'll probably be fine, because sometimes, especially if they've like ridden their bike or they were driving in the car with the windows down, their temperature might be just a little bit high just because of the environment. We do live in a warm climate, right? And we've had that happen several times, and usually within the second try, they're just fine. The car line is the purple lines. You need to go ahead and drop all the way off behind Wyndham at the parking lot there. And there will once again be 2 people to expedite a quick temperature check and drop off. And of course, the bus lines will come in off the 8th Street gates, and that's where they will drop off in that back parking lot. And there will once again be 2 people checking to expedite quick departure from the buses. Go ahead and advance to the next slide. In that map, you might have seen where the little medical symbol is, the little red cross. That's where a clinic is. Right outside that clinic on Orange Avenue is where students will be picked up after the clinic has contacted you because they are showing symptoms. Exiting campus. This really has to do with maintaining order on our campus. As you know, we have 2 large buildings. One's a 2-story building, one's a 3-story building, and they have interior hallways. Clearly, and if all of those kids come out at the same time, those hallways are going to be like that viral picture of that high school in Georgia. And we don't want that to happen. We don't want cadets to be in a situation where they feel uncomfortable because they are jam-packed with a whole bunch of people in a small space. So we are going to stagger dismissal times from all classes, and especially at the end of the day. So we're basically going to be releasing our odd-numbered classrooms a little bit early and our even-numbered classrooms a little bit later. And that will reduce the amount of people that are in the hallway. We are asking the cadets that when they depart their classrooms, that they move quickly to their destination. That way we have less people in the hallway at the same time. Those cadets who will be remaining on campus at the end of the day for approved extracurricular activities should report immediately to their sponsor or coach. All right. Cadets must be in an approved extracurricular activity in order to remain on campus. They can't just hang out until 5 o'clock when mom and dad can come pick them up. That's not a possibility. First of all, we're asking that all of our staff and faculty leave campus by 4 p.m. because we have to do a deep clean every night. Go ahead and advance to the next slide. It is really important that we follow these rules because we need to maintain safety for everybody. All right. And these protocols will help us maintain that safety. I believe our next slide is on classroom protocols, or no, actually, I think it's more about class movement through the campus. There we go. Okay, so let's talk about formations. Obviously, we cannot put 750 kids out on the paver at one time. They're just way too close to each other. So during this pandemic, the cadets are going to be, they're going to think it's great because they only have to go to the formation maybe once or twice a week because we're limiting how many people are going to be in formation. Here's the schedule for formation. If you have first period JROTC, you are in 1st Battalion. This excludes freshmen. You are in 1st Battalion, so you will be in formation on Mondays, right? And you're in Class Bs on Mondays, as you recall. On Tuesdays, it will be 2nd period JROTC, 2nd Battalion. You're in polos that day, ladies, with your hair up. Wednesday is 3rd period JROTC and ACAD. That's the seniors with no JROTC. You're in Class Bs that day, and ACAD you can expect to be inspected during formation. Thursday is 4th Battalion, which is 4th period JRTC. They are in polos with optional spirit wear. All right. Now, training battalion, that is your freshman class, all of your freshmen. They will all be in formation on Fridays, but they will also be in formation on the period of their day. So if they have first period JRTC, they will be in formation Monday and Friday. You may go ahead and advance to the next slide. If they have 2nd period JRTC freshmen, you will be in formation on Tuesday and Friday, right? So you can count on at least one day being in formation in your Class B uniform, all right? And third period JRTC freshmen, you will be in formation on Wednesday and Friday, 4th period JRTC on Thursday and Friday. All right, let's talk about clinic procedures a little bit. If cadets are feeling any symptoms, they will be isolated. All right, so we have an extra room right next to the clinic where those who are feeling symptoms will be. That way, your child who just goes for their regular check-in at the clinic daily, your regular, getting their medicine or whatever, or getting a test done that they have to do on a daily basis, they will not be in the same room with those showing symptoms of COVID-19. The clinic will call home if anybody's showing those symptoms and inform you, the parents, and you will be required to come pick them up. And the clinic will provide parent guardian procedures to follow, okay? The clinic will also, you will pick up the cadet on Orange Avenue, and here's the phone number. It's our 1700 number with extension 227, and the clinic will escort the cadet out to the car on Orange Avenue. We will have little Red Cross signs out there for you to know where to stop and pick up your cadet. You should also see clinic personnel and your cadet out there waiting for you. Identification is required for signing out, and the clinic will want to see that identification when you pull up to pick them up, and the clinic will provide you with written care directions, okay? Routine clinic visits will continue as normal since we will be isolating any of those with symptoms in a separate room. You can go ahead and advance to the next slide. Please remember that should your child show these symptoms, that you need to follow up immediately and follow the guidelines of your medical provider and the Department of Health. And we encourage you once again to then self-report in the Scout app, so then we can then inform everyone who has had at least 15 minutes of contact with your child that they know that they may have been in contact with someone who might have, who is showing COVID symptoms. All right. This is how we are going to help us contain any situation that comes up. Now let's talk a little bit about classroom protocols. How are we going to keep the children and the faculty and staff safe in the classroom? Well, let's first talk about devices. It is not a good idea for cadets to be sharing anything, right? We want them to have their own device. We obviously cannot provide a device for every person. We're working towards that goal, but it's going to take a few years because that's a lot of devices. So we do encourage our cadets to bring their own device. Any device that can easily access the Chrome browser and be able to get onto Google Classroom. That's all they really need. It can be a tablet. Tablets are not best for typing though, and I'll tell you that. But like a Chromebook, they're a lot less expensive. They do a good job. But if you're also looking, say you've got a sophomore, junior, senior, and thinking, okay, well, my child's going to need this something good that's going to be good for college as well, get them a decent laptop, right? If you are not able to do that, we do have a limited number of Chromebooks that we will be able to check out to you once again. And that sign up information for that request information for Chromebooks will be coming out next week. All of our water fountains have been disabled for safety reasons. We obviously don't want people touching the water fountains. We don't want them, and then, you know, we can't have somebody there to disinfect it in between every kid. So we have disabled those. We are installing touchless water bottle fillers, which means every cadet should have their own water bottle that they can carry around and refill at the water bottle filler. Okay. Right now we have one that is already set up. We have another one that's getting ready to be set up at different parts of the campus. And we, as the year goes on, we will add more refillable water stations. Cadets are encouraged to bring their own personal hand sanitizer, wipes, educational materials. You can go ahead and advance to the next slide. Teachers at the beginning of the school year with their syllabus will also provide a list of things that they recommend that your child has. I recommend that they have their own little sanitizer bottle. Grab them while you can, because, you know, one day they're there, the next day the shelf is empty. We know how that is. We will have sanitizer in all the classrooms, but if a kid has their own sanitizer, then they can use it whenever they need to, whenever they feel the need. All right. Also, I think wipes is a great thing to have, even if it's just simply the hand wipes, so that they can go ahead and you know, wipe their own personal equipment down whenever they need to. And quite honestly, when you're wearing that mask all day, sometimes you just want to take it off real quick and wipe your face with a wet nap, and it makes you feel a little bit better to put that mask back on. This actually brings us to the end of our presentation, and I wanted to just encourage you, if you have questions, please email me. It's Fred, F-R-E-D .Fout, F-O-U-T, at oursma.org. You can also just go on the website and click onto any of those things and email me a question. I'm checking right now to see if I have any questions that are posted on Facebook. I don't. Hang on just a moment. I don't see any comments. Oh, here we go. So I know Sarasota County voted against buffs and only masks are to be worn. will SMA follow this policy, or can our cadets still wear the buffs? I'm not quite sure what you mean by buffs. I'm thinking maybe it's probably like those gaiters. I'll tell you what, you've spent money on things already. And even though the gaiters are not really a great choice, I have them myself. I like them because I can wear them around my neck and they're always there when I need it, right? Um, that, but the problem is they're so thin. When I wear those things, I can feel my breath when I blow out through the gaiter. So that's obviously not very effective. I am thinking about trying to cut up some of my other gaiters and double ply where it goes over my face and see how that works. You might try the same thing. Really, they say the 2-ply cloth masks are the best of what you can get out there. I know I got these at Target. I think it was a pack of 5 for about $6 or $7, which was actually not too bad. But once again, we're going to be providing your cadets with a mask to start with, a cloth mask. We would recommend that they use that. There will also be some available through PTCC that have like the SMA brand, or there's going to be like Raiders ones and other things like that for the different organizations on campus. And that helps support the school also when you purchase those, because everything that you purchase from PTCC, all of that money goes back into your kids' classroom. Which is a great deal, right? Also, I think, let me look at the other question here. Oh, and so there's also been questions about the face shields. Quite honestly, the face shields are not effective because they're open all along the side. They really only, they're great if you're in a situation where something might splash into your face. Otherwise, they're really not effective for protecting either the person that's wearing it or others around them. So they actually say for those who are wearing face shields, much like when you go into a doctor's or dentist's office, they're wearing a face shield and a mask under it. And actually our ASL classes, American Sign Language, they will have the face shields because there are times when the teacher needs to see their lips moving, and they actually start to learn a little bit about how to read lips. So that's going to be important. But those are smaller classes. They're going to be a little more socially distanced. They'll be able to take off their mask and have just the face shield during those times during that instruction. So really, the best option is the masks. And honestly, there's always a question about, well, what if my kid has a medical issue? Honestly, the best choice if your kid has that kind of a medical issue is probably to look at remote learning. However, talk to us individually, contact me, contact the clinic, and we can try and accommodate any proven medical issues. Of course, that would have to be validated by a professional. And if there are no other questions, that's going to be it. And if you do have any further questions, please call the school, and we will try and resolve those as quickly as possible. And honestly, shoot me an email, and I'm usually pretty good about getting back to you within 24 hours. Thank you so much. I hope this Coffee with the Colonel was enlightening for you. I hope it helps you feel a little better about sending your child to our school. Believe me, it's all about safety. Before, it was always just about safety of, campus hardening and making sure your child is safe to be in school from outside attacks. Now it's being safe from this pandemic. And that is our #1 priority, because if your child is not comfortable in their school setting, they're not going to learn well. And we want them to be to get the highest level of education they can get right here at SMA. Thank you so much, and I look forward to talking to you again.